Hey, so before we get started, I just want to say the links to the original video and channel are down in the description below, so go ahead and make sure that you check them out. So Mike Burnfire. Now, only thing I know about these two guys is that one of them was in the Army and the other one was in the Marine Corps. Someone mentioned it in a comment in a recent video and just said that the stories are great. You know, you get to see some New Vegas gameplay, big fan of, and just thought like, yeah, you know, I'll give it a shot. And if this is your first time checking out this channel, just hit that little subscribe button. It takes about a second. And also a little background on myself. I was a former Marine in the United States Marine Corps. I got out as a corporal, went on 2 deployments as an 0311 to Kuwait and Syria. And that's a little bit about me. And also I saw military stories compilation. So I was like, it's always great to kind of see how things kind of relate or are different. Or, you know, something where I'm like, I know exactly how you feel type moment, right? Without wasting too much more time, let's go ahead, get right into the video.
We can sing some cadence along the way.
No, shut up! I hate cadence!
Yeah, I really hate cadence.
Left, right, low, right.
Oh my god, shut up.
Left and right and low,
I will
right.
admit, shut up! I will admit that the Marines have a better cadence system.
Okay, I don't know what the Army does for their cadence. I mean, I've heard a few here and there, but there's certain Marine ones that are actually pretty good. I actually enjoy. You know, I mean, you could type it in on YouTube, Marine cadence, and what was it the one to say? Mama told Johnny not to go downtown. Said Marine Corps recruiter was hanging around. That one is actually pretty good. That's personally one of my favorites. You don't really appreciate cadence or even like just shit. What do they call it? Marching, drill, right? Having drill with the just right amount of cadence, and you know, everybody who calls cadence can do it differently. Some people really put like their voice into it. Sounds phenomenal, but you don't really appreciate it in boot camp, really. It's until, for me personally, SOI we did a little bit, and obviously we do it like very half-assy, right? Kind of in half ASS in the Marine Corps or in the fleet, and you know what? I honestly don't mind it. I actually think it's pretty cool.
In that they only do cadence when they're like running for like PT.
You think so?
They don't do like other dumb cadences while you're just marching to places.
We do that very much. Well, in boot camp it's a lot more frequently, as I said. But when you get to SOI, I don't know about MCT, but also in the fleet, you're not going to be doing a whole lot. And if you do, it's very like, you know, hey, double time, and then we run in silence, right? Because we're not really, at least as an 0311, that's not really something that we take a big focus on.
That depends on where you go.
The Army does cadence all the time. All of the time. Anytime you march somewhere, you're doing cadence. Which is stupid, because you end up with some of the dumbest cadences ever that people come up with off the top of their head. Like Pebbles and Bam Bam on a Friday night tried to get to heaven on a paper kite. And it's like, what does this have to do with anything? And then you get other people that are super...
Wait, is that true? Was that a true one, or did he just like say that? You know what? Considering that it is the military, I wouldn't doubt if it was true. Is it also true that you guys would literally do it everywhere, even once you get to like your duty station and all that? They, you know, I mean, obviously if you're traveling like intergroup, you say the whole detail, left face, and you know, all that.
Super motivated to do dumbass cadences about airborne rangers, and I'm like, we're in a support unit. Not a single one of us is an airborne ranger. None of us will be airborne rangers. Stop with the cadence. It's stupid. C-130 rolling down the strip, airborne rangers on a one-way trip. None of us are airborne rangers. None of us are ever going to do dangerous missions like that. I swear to God, next person to do a cadence like that, I'm going to put you on a C-130, and then I'm going to...
Oh, Jesus.
He just went off with a little rant there. I love it. C-130 rolling down the strip, that one's pretty good.
So what's the most bored you've ever been? I know it's asking you to search your entire military career and try and find especially boring...
Yeah. Why don't you go first? You tell me what's the most bored you've ever been first.
Man, I don't know. There's like... there was a time where we had nothing to do for like 3 days, so we just stacked plastic bottles and threw rocks at them for the entirety of those 3 days. And that was it. That was all we did for like 3 days.
That is pretty bored. But yeah, there was one night where we had.
Wait, it's either that or like Marines are fucking they're messing with the wildlife. Then people get bit, or kind of like he said, throwing rocks, but we were throwing rocks at each other, or we were so bored one time during ITX, and it was that we were already staying at Camp Wilson, but we were going out, and I believe we were going to start taking that big mountain town, range 220, and then there, you know how there's this big fob if you've ever been there, and essentially it's just a big flat area, right? And we had one platoon here, and one here. Ours was kind of like the odd one in the corner, right? And then we see first platoon and second platoon. First, I think it was second platoon was like play fighting with each other, right? And then all of a sudden, first platoon comes out of nowhere. You got dudes with isomats, and they're like doing like a hoo, or they're kind of doing a cadence, right? And then they're just going like this with like isomats, tossing them up and down, and they're slowly approaching the other platoon. And then we're just watching like, what the hell? They were so bored, they started a damn isomat war with the other platoon. It's so funny.
We were sitting out there and we took something similar to what you did, where we just took like a can, like an empty SpaghettiOs can, and put it on the curb, and we were just pitching rocks at it to try and knock it over.
It's pretty much all you can do when you got nothing to do. You just target practice.
Yeah, just do that. And then we got yelled at for doing that.
Well, that's because you're in the military and you get yelled at for everything.
Yeah. And then people wondered why I smoked, like, seriously, a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. I used to have...
Honestly, so many people are going to get into dip. They're going to get into cigs. They'll get into drinking as soon as they get to the fleet. I don't even think it matters what branch you're in. Just because a lot of the stupidity that goes on and all the dumb moments and all that. And then... but yeah, especially when you're out in the field, dude, I would get like 2 or 3 cans just for a week, right? And I would be consistently going through it. And then, obviously, even if you didn't dip, so here's a little tip for you, that if you don't do that, take a couple cans to the field, because people are going to run out. They always do, and they're always trying to bump a pinch off of somebody, and yet they're greedy as FUCK with their own pinches, right? But you can make a lot of money off people.
Have a grenade launcher.
You didn't have any grenades for it, though, did you?
No, I mean, like, while I was in the military, I was issued a grenade launcher.
You ever fire a grenade launcher?
Yes, a lot.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. A lot.
How many grenades have you thrown?
Hand grenades?
Yeah.
Only like 2, but 40-millimeter grenades, a lot of them.
Why would you, working in the armory, an enclosed space, be issued a grenade launcher?
Because, okay, so we got 6 new grenade launchers into our company, and they called me, and they said, hey, come down to the arms room and install these grenade launchers. I said, what M16s am I putting these grenade launchers on? And they said, pick 6 of them. And I went, serious?
Serious? What kind of... Who was this guy with? Like, which unit? Like, what was going on here? Because you would have said you would want to just fucking choose 6, any 6. You would have said you would want that split between the platoons, right? But... Okay. Now, yes, we had people with 2 or 3s, right, on our M4s because, you know, was it like after a little before first deployment and then going into second deployment, we were transitioning a lot to make sure everyone had an M4 instead of an M16. And then people had the 2 or 3s, right? And then each platoon had a Mark 32, like a think of it like the revolving grenade launcher or like a war machine from like Call of Duty, right? And my buddy never shot any real rounds. I don't even think during training. He always had those Cheetah Puff rounds, right? I think they had like a blue tip, and yeah, I think it was, you know, open the chamber, hand crank, spin it all in one go, and your hand, you would literally have to get it at an angle where your hand has to do the full rotation. Otherwise, you have to do it again, right? And then when you would shoot, there'd actually be like a little button that you pull, I believe it was, and then that would rotate to the next cylinder. Now, my buddy called it the dead baby. This just what he called it, because he never really got to shoot it. He just had to carry it. So it's just extra weight that if in actual combat would have been useful, but because he never really got to shoot it, and damn it. I mean, I believe he did get real rounds, but never got to shoot one, right? But yeah, Cheetah Puff rounds.
Obviously, any 6, and any 6. And I went, okay, well, where's my weapon? Give me that. That is mine. I'm putting this grenade launcher on it. I have a grenade launcher now. Because I wanted a grenade launcher.
You've actually fired a grenade launcher.
I fired a lot of grenades. We went on a convoy live fire mission.
While you were deployed?
No. Convoy live fire range. It was like a firing range where we rode in the back of trucks and shot at stuff with them.
Veronica's still not doing well because you blew her up with the grenade.
And basically, we were only supposed to go on one, and they did 6 of them. I was only supposed to go on one. I volunteered to go on all 6 because they had ordered too many practice grenades. So I...
Oh, okay, so they were the training ones. But was he an armor, like, as MOS specific, like an optics tech or something like that? Or was he a 0311 or somebody from somewhere else that just got put there, right? Because they needed somebody to fill that position. I don't know. But let me tell you, I don't know if he ends up regretting putting a 203 on it, because I don't care what anyone says. Those things get heavy. Those things will get heavy if you're consistently like having your hands up, right, to be able to shoot. I mean, unless you're shooting from like the hip or something, right? But it's going to be a whole lot less accurate. I had a 203 for a certain amount of time. Did not like it. They also made me have to carry extra rounds for that, and they make you carry a lot.
I ended up firing a lot of 40mm grenades. I used the grenade launcher so much I didn't really even need to use a sight on it anymore. I would just be like, okay, well, I need to be at roughly this elevation to hit a target at 300 meters.
And then you'd hit the target.
Yeah. I know a lot about grenade launcher.
Honestly, that's kind of how it went too, right? Was it the tip of the iron sight in the front to the tip of your, what was it, the RCO, right? The front part of it. If you can get those aligned, that's roughly 100 meters. And then every now and then, I mean, when I was also in, we had a GLS, which is kind of like a, think of it like an RCO for the actual 203, but it is not using the actual leaf sight, and you just adjust it for elevation, and when you like are turning it up or down, it's going to show like a little blinking dot, and once it turns green, like a solid green, I think it was, then you're ready for that distance, right? So put it at like 100 meters, 200 meters, etc.
Launchers.
Learn something new every day.
I can't believe I've never told you this story about grenade launchers.
You've got a lot of stories I haven't heard before.
Yeah, I had an underbarrel M203 grenade launcher for like almost a year while I was in the military, and then they took it away from me because they said,
I'm not doing so well here.
Then they took it away from me because they said, well, you're mostly going to be in a shop fixing weapons all the time. And I said, fine, I guess I don't get a grenade launcher anymore. So yeah, they took my grenade launcher away from me, and then they gave me a belt-fed machine gun. Which I didn't understand anymore, because I was like, you just said I'm going to be, like, in a shop, so why would I need a grenade launcher? And then you gave me a fully automatic belt-fed machine gun. Are you fucking stupid?
The answer to that question is yes, it's the military. They are.
And as it turns out, they didn't really care that I had just put a grenade launcher on my rifle with, like, no authorization, and it had never been to a firing range with a grenade launcher before. They didn't care because the majority of people who had put grenade launchers on their weapons were super pissed about it, because it meant they had to carry more weight. I didn't care. I wanted a 40mm grenade launcher.
Well, that
told you. And this guy is crazy. But I mean, obviously, it's cool to shoot. It's just I don't want to be carrying it for days on end and carrying all those extra rounds. Specifically, also in a training environment, because then they take accountability for those rounds. If you accidentally lose one, they're gonna assume you're trying to hide it and trying to sneak it back on. So it would also make me very paranoid. But yeah, extra weight, dude, especially going on patrols and all that, can really be shitty.
That is quite the story I had never heard before.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to bring up the conversation of poop again, but...
No, but you're going to, yes.
Yeah, you kind of reminded me of a story that happened to me when I was on a mission with some other Marines, and we also had a porta-john. And it was in the middle of nowhere, so it didn't get emptied.
So very, very rapidly filled with fecal material and urine.
Yes, to put it in a very gross way, that is true.
And also probably MRE wrappers and crayons and glue, because that's all Marines eat.
Yeah. And there wasn't enough toilet paper, so what they used was fiberglass cloth.
What?
Yeah, they had cloths that we normally use for cleaning up grease. We had some of that.
Oh, like not fiberglass, like a fiber cloth.
No, it was a fiberglass cloth. It was a cloth that had fiberglass in it.
Oh my god, that is the worst idea I think I've ever heard.
And they were using it as toilet paper.
That is the worst idea I've ever heard. The itching would be indescribable.
It apparently didn't come to anyone's mind that maybe scratching your butt with something like that would be a bad idea.
I thought for a second there he was going to say that he saw Wagner loves COCK, right? I mean, because that is literally on every damn porta potty. It's even on deployment in Kuwait. And there was a whole thing about how that whole started and everything. But also, tip, always bring your own toilet paper. And don't tell anybody about it, because everybody's going to want a piece. Claiming that they'll get you back. They're not going to get you back.
So yeah, that was a fun weekend.
Please tell me you didn't use it.
I will not tell you anything more about that weekend.
Oh
That
my
was a
god,
terrible
you
weekend.
wiped your ass with fiberglass. That's like wiping your ass with poison ivy and going, oh, this will be fine.
Man, I joined the military over a decade ago, and you joined even earlier than that. So
I joined 2004.
yeah, right out of high school.
If we want to get real technical about it, I didn't actually join right out of high school. I had to wait 6 months.
Because you weren't old enough?
No, because they said, hey, we have enough small arms repairmen for this fiscal year, so you have to wait until next fiscal year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, do you want to be a truck driver? You could join the military right now. And I said, fuck you.
I drove a truck in the military. I drove Humvees and 7 tons.
Yeah, it wasn't your job, and you did it just as well as people whose job it was.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I was about to say, like, so he was Motor T, but it's, I mean, obviously not. It's not just Motor T guys who drive 7 tons and all that. So all other times they're also going to take people from like 0311s, right? Because you got to have people within your own squad or fire team to be able to drive MRAPs on deployment. So you really do get to learn. I don't know about 7 tons exactly, but Humvees, MRAPs, you will get some of your 11s learning how to do that. For the most part, they do a good job, right? Okay, so he went in. I don't know what he went in for. I keep getting the red and blue mixed up as far as like the Marine and the soldier, but the other guy went in to be a repairman. Okay.
go figure.
Well, my job in the military was basic water sanitation engineer, but the old acronym for it was hygiene equipment operator. Mm-hmm. So HEO. Mm-hmm. And there was one guy in our job training corps. He was a big burly guy. We called him Ox, but he was like 200 pounds of all muscle.
Uh-huh.
We were like, why did you join as a hygiene equipment operator? I was supposed to be heavy equipment operator, but my recruiter got the paperwork wrong.
Oh my god. Well, let's...
Wait, what? Okay, first of all, I've heard stories about people saying that they would get promised something, and then that obviously doesn't go through. So make sure it gets in writing, going to the recruiter. But obviously, even if it is in writing, they can still change it. But God forbid, if you want to change it, they're going to say, no, you can't. You this and that. You signed, right? I say, okay, well, you guys got to keep your end of the bargain as well, right? You know, if I'm going to be given 4 years, I want to be doing exactly what you told me I was going to be able to do, right? And now I'm not 100% sure, but I would find that recruiter. Oh, God, I can't even begin to believe how pissed this guy probably was.
Let's go find Knight Astor and be like, not Knight Astor.
Knight Astor.
Sorry.
You just promoted First Sergeant Astor to... Oh, I guess I got a promotion, don't I, recruit? There was a gunnery sergeant who was my drill instructor, and he gave me a command, and I was so exhausted, I just said, yes, ma'am. And I stopped short, and he looked at me. You were going to say, yes, sir, right? You weren't going to say, yes, ma'am, were you? And I said, yes, Master Sergeant.
Like, what rank was he?
He was gunnery sergeant, so one rank below Master Sergeant.
He got a promotion. Oh, good, a promotion!
They say that too, especially if you win like a rank above. Then what if you mess up someone's rank? Like you said, Master Sergeant instead of gunnery sergeant. And they always say that, oh, I got promoted. And it's always like, come on, bro. I've heard that so many times, but it's also like messing up rank can really cause a lot of issues, especially more towards a senior hears you say that. Because they're going to have you rewrite the rank structure at least maybe 100 times, and they're going to be like uppercase, lowercase, every other letter a different color. I think somebody had to write it backwards. Like every word like the rank structure was in order, but the words were spelled backward. Like for spelling the word dog, you would spell it as God, but still have it at the beginning, right? And then keep going. But yeah, don't don't mess up ranks.
In basic training, I named one of my weapons.
What did you name your weapon?
I named my M16 Piper.
I named mine Black Betty.
No, you didn't.
I did, actually. I named my M16 Piper in basic training.
That was like 10 years ago, before Fallout 4 came out.
It is. Oh, yeah, because Piper has never been a name.
Why did you decide to name your rifle Piper?
Because everybody else was naming their rifles after their girlfriends or wives or whatever, and I didn't have either, so I was like, I'm going to name it Piper, because I like that name. It's a nice name.
It's just a name you liked.
I like the name Piper.
I named mine Black Betty just because it was a black rifle, and I think it was also after the song Black Betty, right? And I don't know, it just seemed to fit.
And then you spent every night with Piper.
Yep.
I named my rifle too.
What'd you name it?
I named her after the serial number, so it was easy to remember. Good old 0309823.
Let me tell you a fun story.
60. No, you know what? I'm not even gonna try. Dude, there's so many things that you would just remember on the spot, or like these little things, right? Kind of like the serial number. How it seemed like he just remembered it from all the way back then. What, 2004 was it? He said, give or take, almost 2 decades, or a decade, somewhere in between there.
Story about when Mike joined the military. I was at my horrible base of Fort Polk, the asshole of the entire world. I was playing video games, and I get a call from a number I don't recognize. This guy on the line says, "Hi, my name is Sergeant whatever. I'm with the United States Marine Corps." And he says, "I have heard from Mike that you might be interested in joining the Marines."
Okay, a lot of times when that is going on, because hell, I did it. I even told some of my friends, because like, if you were able to get someone in, right, you get, I think it was 2 people, you get promoted to PFC. Now, a lot of the times they want to make the recruiters want to make sure they're actually trying to get people in, but a lot of the times, you know, it's a lot of the kids fresh out of high school, right? You know, communicating with people that you might not know, or people who are just random strangers, could be a little awkward. So you call your friend and say, "Hey, I'm gonna give your number to so and so." Just kind of, you know, lead them on a little bit, but then say you're not interested, and that way it at least looks like you're trying, right? And for a lot of the time, they're gonna try to call your buddy for you. You know, your buddy's gonna respond, even if you let them know ahead of time, and not, they're gonna respond completely different to someone else that they don't know, right? But don't do it. It's a trap.
Okay.
I didn't have the heart to tell him, no, I'm already in the military. So what I said is, no, I'm going to college. And he says, you know, if you join the Marines, they'll actually help pay for college. And I said, no, it's okay. I got a trust fund. I'm going to be a doctor.
You said that?
Yeah. After talking with him for about a good 10 minutes on the benefits of joining the Marines, while I'm actually already in the military, I finished talking to him. I called Mike, and I said, "Mike, why'd you tell him I was interested in joining the Marines?" And you just started laughing. Said you thought it was funny.
That sounds like me, all right.
I was like, "Mike, I told you how bad the military is. Why'd you join?"
Also, there was this thing going on where people were getting, I think somebody made a meme out of it too. Sergeant BALLES. So balls sends a message to this dude, and he was sending it to quite a few. I believe that's what his name was, because someone would end up, because he would say, "Hey, I heard from so and so, you know, you might be interested in looking at the Marine Corps. You know, hey, if you had a bit of 10, 15 minutes to come in, we talk about it, you know." And then the dude responds, "Ha ha ha ha, Sergeant Balls." It's fucking ridiculous. Dude, literally, military humor. Like, these guys sound exactly like some people in my own platoon. But, dude, military humor, some of the funniest stuff that unless you've been in, you wouldn't know it. But also, I realized that there's also quite a bit of people who have been saying, like, every time when I say, "Oh, it's just military humor," you know, you get it a lot more if you were in, or some people would just might understand it because maybe their family. But apparently, this kind of humor also goes into, like, other very physical jobs, right? Like, some people have that kind of language in construction. Some people have that kind of language in, was it plumbing? There's different types of job areas that actually have this kind of humor, which is great, you know. Just got to find people of that community, because my friends nowadays from back in high school, they think I'm a little dark in some of my humor, but it's like, nah, it's funny.
Oh, was he contacting you because he was trying to verify that I was...
No, he was contacting me because when you went to the recruiter station, you wrote down 4 people's names that might be interested in joining the military, and you wrote down my name, knowing full fucking well that I was already in the military.
I actually put down 4 people's names, all of whom were in the military.
Probably all of whom were already in the military.
So he couldn't harass civilians.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about that for a minute. A lot of very relatable stuff in this. What was the part about cadences? Personally, I loved it. If you have a favorite one, let me know down in the comments below. Or if you liked it or not, if you found it tedious, annoying. What about the part about boredom, right? I mean, what was the most boring experience that you've ever had? Many instances to really speak of. Specifically, I think some of the most worst bored times was probably in Syria when I would be on post. Because at first I was told that the post that I was usually on was the post I would probably see the most amount of contact if something did happen, right? Because we were the closest to the city. Nothing ever did happen, but a lot of times that effect kind of wore off, and then you're doing it at night, and there's nothing to do because you couldn't necessarily have, you weren't supposed to have your phone with you, right? Yeah, obviously, some of us did it. Anyway, and since it is night, you got to keep the volume incredibly low. You got to keep the screen on the dimmest amount possible if you did have it. But even then, at that time, my phone was pretty bad. It would waste power pretty quickly. So I would listen to like maybe audiobooks, one headphone in just to make sure I had one out. And then, it would be, it's never felt so hard to stay awake. And during that time, right? And then you got all this food that's in the trash can. You got flies buzzing all over you, and you're just angry at everything right now. You want to hit something, you want to shoot something, and then it's just the amount of boredom. Like literally, when there's nothing to do, because some people would end up messing with the equipment, and that's one thing that I didn't want to do. Because someone who did do it, I think I mentioned the story before, had mentioned about pulling the pin on a grenade. Now I don't know how true this is, because I would not want to risk pulling it out but still holding on to the actual grip and then putting it back in, and then it should be fine, right? I don't know if that's true. It doesn't seem like it's true, nor would I ever want to risk that. And then these guys would spend an hour, as they claim, trying to find the pin and putting it back in. Amount of boredom can cause quite a bit of issues. There was also one story about, this lieutenant, right before I deployed in my first deployment. They were mentioning stories, and then one of them said that they drove out and they were supposed to check on a post for, I think it was like 2 Marines or 3 Marines, and they were supposed to be out there for a couple of days. They were just doing like road guard stuff, right? Directing traffic, but they had like a little shack, and they would take turns kind of rotating, keeping an eye, make sure no one's accidentally coming through. And they said that these guys started a fire. I think it was like 3 days into it, right? They started a fire, and they were dancing around it in like, what is those waffle tops and bottoms, like the little warming layers, and they're just dancing around like I don't want to say it, but he goes up to them and says, "Y'all boys all right out here? And, like, you need anything? Food, water?" And then these guys just go, "You're the first person we've seen other than each other in like 3 days, sir." It was like these guys were doing like a little dance around the fire in the waffle top and bottoms. Grenade launcher 203s. Oh god, if you had to carry this for extended periods of time on a consistent basis, the whole fun factor goes away very quickly. I would not have used the fiberglass toilet paper. No, I'm not even sure what that is, but it does not sound great. Always bring your own when you go to the field. Bring a little extra. Maybe save some for your buddies. Could charge them because they'd probably charge you. So one of them was into sanitation of water, and the other one was a repairman, or like somebody who would like fix guns, be an armorer. God, I wish I picked a job, something like that. I wouldn't have mind being in the armory, relaxing. You might have to wake up and go there early, but at least you're not having to go to the field. And oh god, there's so many instances where I'd just be like, damn, should have picked a different job. The whole thing about the gunny getting a rank wrong, I really didn't do that too much. It was very rare, or sometimes I would quickly catch myself before I would make that mistake. naming weapons, naming mine Black Betty, and that was only boot camp. Didn't really name any other one. Only other one I knew of was probably my buddy who called his Mark 32 with the dead baby or dead weight. And even today, as far as recruiting goes, I'm like, I still get emails who say, "Hey, this is so and so. How would you think about looking in the military?" And a lot of these people are like, not ruthless, but they're very insistent. And I don't know if it works more primarily, which is probably why they go for like high school students, people coming out of high school, maybe people in college that might be struggling paying for bills and paying for schooling. But when I was going to the college, the community college that I was going to, right? I was walking around, I saw some recruiters, and they started talking to me about like, "Hey, you ever thought about joining the military?" And I was like, "Ah, thanks, man. I just got out of the military, and actually using the GI Bill ran out to go to school." I was like, "Hey, so I just got out," and they're like, "Well, hey, it's a great time to get back in." And I was like, "I'm not gonna fall for your sugar honey words." I think it was like a Skyrim reference. It's like, no, I'm done, no. And then the insistence of just so many emails talking about joining, and I've even gotten calls or more text messages that end up saying, "Hey, where are you? You're supposed to be on duty." And obviously not right now, but this was more like maybe a couple months after I got out of the Marine Corps. They say, "Hey, like, where the F are you?" Like, and then I wouldn't answer. I'd be like, "What the hell?" And then I would assume like, "Oh, name's probably still on the duty roster somehow months in advance," or maybe my name just and number didn't get taken off of a rotation or something. And then I wouldn't answer, and then an hour later, I swear to God, I'm gonna come to your room with the key. And then he gave the room number, the building number, and I was like, "All right, bet." This dude starts calling, and then goes to the room, realizes it's some junior guy. I have no idea where this is. I would assume it'd be in 29 Palms, 37 area, right? But then all of a sudden, texts me and it says, "Who the F is this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got out of the Marine Corps a couple months ago." Calls me an ass, and that was it. Last thing to finish the video. If you ever get in a situation where you have that type of thing, where somebody thinks you're still in, right? Or someone is trying to get you in, have a little fun, right? Marine Corps, the Army, the Air Force, Coast Guard, Navy, everybody, yeah. Space Force. They all got theirs. Why not get yours? So, that's going to go ahead and do it for this video, though. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It does help me a lot. Hit that dislike button if you didn't like it. Leave me a little comments to maybe what it was. I'm always up for new recommendations. It's always a 50-50 as far as watching the video. There's some videos I watch that I really don't have a whole lot to say on, and then those just kind of get thrown out, or finding a video and then reacting to it without watching it first beforehand, because then it takes away that first time effect. And then it's hard because sometimes you watch a video that, like I said, that didn't have a whole lot to say on. But like ones like these, very great. I didn't know what exactly we're going to talk about. I knew it was going to be stories, and that shit turned out pretty funny. Really good. Very relatable. So, in any case, I'll see y'all in the next video.